Hey everybody, welcome back to session 3 of my campaign for the Alien RPG by Free League AvPvE. This is the finale of the scenario known as Progressive Destruction. Our players will finish that scenario and figure out where they go from there. Please like and subscribe. If you enjoy this content, please subscribe and turn on your notification bell for further content. Doing one of these every week. Please comment below, like the video. All that helps get this content out there. Thank you so much, and we'll jump right in.
My vote would be to launch the shuttle, and I believe the shuttle can accommodate the cryo box, and then use the shuttle um, to ferry the woman if they accept her, rather than putting Magellan down on the ground or docked to a space station. Basically, keep Magellan out of the picture as much as we can to keep it safe. Does that sound too paranoid?
I don't think it
I'm,
sounds too paranoid to me.
I'm just not sure how we're going to not associate the shuttle and Magellan with each other and with us. I assume
Oh
registered.
no, we can absolutely say it's our shuttle. We're not trying to be sneaky here. It's just I don't want to make planetfall with Magellan to bring this woman down there, and then all of a sudden we're blockaded on the planet and not allowed to leave.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair.
Who's to say we can't lug the cryo chamber onto the shuttle and just a small number of us go down with the shuttle and leave Magellan?
That's what I'm proposing.
That's what you're proposing. Okay.
Yeah,
So we have-
Magellan in orbit.
Regardless, we do have to contact them first, right? And see, like you said, they might not even take her. So
Exactly. But be
I think
prepared.
I think it's a great.
Right.
I think that's a good plan. I like it.
So we should come out of FTL far enough away but close enough to make radio contact, announce ourselves, the situation, and then see how it develops, and then be prepared to launch the shuttle separately to make contact. Does that sound fair?
Sounds good.
sounds good.
I'm in.
All right. Yeah, you'll want to do that anyway, because 15 days in FTL to get there. You guys are someone's gonna have to do your good old Comtech and heavy machinery maintenance roles. So you're gonna come out with a little bit of time to reach the planet anyway for that as well. All right. So let's just fast forward a little bit, cut through the narration, and you guys, I'm gonna pull you back over to the ship main deck for now, if I can. I wish I could it'd just be a lot easier if I could just like right click and tell it which one I wanted you on.
Send your suggestion to Roll20.
Yeah, I could do that. Not sure what it would get me, but I could do that. All right, so you guys, we're, like I said, we're just going to cut through it a little bit. You guys wake up in cryo. The terminal in cryo is showing that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. You are on course. You're on target. You should expect to get to GBH 45 in about 6 hours. You are in system, having dropped out of FTL and under conventional thrust. It does look like you're receiving comms traffic from GBH 45, and so that's where you guys are up in cryo. So it's a question of who wants to go where and do what. We do have to do, like I said, someone does need to do comtech, and someone needs to do heavy machinery maintenance on the ship.
Yeah, I just assumed I'd stay with the Magellan and do maintenance.
Okay.
There's nothing I can add with the survivor.
I can do the contact roll.
Outside of the fact that it's really tough, Dwayne.
Do I actually have a stress, or is that just left over?
No, it's gone. If you guys have any stress on your character sheets, go ahead and ditch it. So Dwayne, you'll head to engineering to do mechanical maintenance.
Sure.
And Roman, you would be on the bridge to do Comtech maintenance, and you have a success, so that's fine. Dwayne, go ahead and make your heavy machinery roll. 2 successes. What would you like to do with your stunt?
I got a leftover stunt from the last time. I'll just. Well,
You could
doesn't
bank
matter.
a success on your next maintenance roll, so you don't even have to roll for it.
Yeah, that's what I'll do. In fact, I probably should have done that because I have one banked from before. But okay.
Well, all right. So the 2 of them are going to be tied up for about 6 hours doing that. So it's a question of, Jake, what is your master plan here? Or I guess Jake, Rudy, and Max, really. I imagine the 3 of you are all going to be working together on this, but...
Well, right. I'm going to stay with the ship. I can make contact with, I'm sorry, GBH.
45, yep.
I can make contact with GBH 45, and they are the 3WE, right?
Correct.
And we are flagged as a UA, right?
You're an SS, so you're registered with the ICC as an independent starship.
Okay. Got it.
All right, so you're heading to the bridge to open up comms?
Right.
All right, Rudy, what are you up to?
Rudy will do the same. Go
Okay.
to the bridge to help out with comms.
All right, that's fine. Jake, you got anything specific you want to do?
No, just taking to the bridge to make sure be up to date with whatever's going on.
All right, and I think Vickers will just head that way as well, for lack of anything else to do. So, so yeah, you are receiving a standard welcome communication from GBH 45. It sounds like a recorded voice message asking you to open contact with space traffic control.
All right, so I open traffic control and I announce myself. GBH 45 traffic control. This is ICC registered SS Magellan scientific exploration vessel. Request comms with traffic control manager.
A man's voice with a very British accent, which I'm not going to do because I don't do accents. With a very British accent responds, this is GBH 45 space traffic control. Magellan, we do not have you on our itinerary. What is your business here?
This is an unscheduled diversion from the scientific survey mission that we have been conducting for UA. We have discovered a person in distress, and GBH 45 is the closest settlement that could allow aid to this person. And under ICC law, we are required to request aid for a survivor of that planet or that settlement.
All right.
Over.
The line is quiet for a moment, and then he comes back and states, SS Magellan, what is the nature of the distress?
The full nature of her distress is unknown. She is currently in a cryo box, not a cryo chamber, but a cryo box under her own volition. We have some data that you may review prior to accepting her for medical care. Would you like us to transmit this? And now I would turn to our scientists, and this is probably something we should have discussed before, but What kind of data do we want to transmit to them about what her condition is?
Just give them the basics. Tell her she's infected with an unknown virus.
And the nature of the virus and all that.
Handle with extreme caution.
Okay.
Should we tell them that we've identified a potentially responsible microbe?
I think anything that we've done on this ship, they can do on their own. Probably better than we did it.
Right.
All they need to do, well, I'm just talking about equipment, okay? Doctor.
Not skill.
We
Not
did
skill,
get pretty far
just-
for what
just-
we had.
Just equipment. They have planet-bound laboratories, so they're going to be able to do a lot more than we could do. And
I don't know, to quote the great James Kirk, just keep in mind, Commodore, there's very little a starbase can do that a starship can't.
Yeah, that's okay.
I feel like this universe is far less forgiving than that one.
Yeah, probably.
yeah, true that. Plus, then what we're trying to do here is remember what we're trying to do. We're not trying to blow our contract. We're just trying to do the bare minimum so that we're not the only witnesses to this thing, so that we can't be rubbed out. Right.
Roger. And then also get this woman to the fastest medical care possible. It's
Right.
All right.
maybe a secondary.
So you're informing them that she's infected with some sort of pathogen or virus. Is that that's the plan?
Yeah, and you could tell them it wiped out the colony. She's the sole survivor of this colony, so they understand this is a lethal virus, and we don't understand. What do you expect us to do with it, right?
All right. So sending that information over, the GBH-45 tells you to stand by, and that's exactly what you're doing. You're kind of standing around. You're getting to the point after about 10 minutes, you're looking at each other going, are they even going to come back to us? Before the comms come back on, and Space Traffic Control comes back to you and says, SS Magellan, do not make orbit around GBH-45. Hold your present position. A vessel, and heave to, a vessel is going to come to dock with you.
Roger that, traffic control. We are prepared to. Give me a second here. I got to catch my brain. We are prepared to load the victim onto our shuttle, and we'll provide docking instructions for the shuttle to meet you.
Affirmative, SS Magellan.
All right, so then sounds like they're going to go for that. So let's get her moved into the shuttle's cargo bay.
All right, so you're going to move her down into the lifeboat on the subdeck. That was the plan when you say shuttle, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Perhaps.
No, oh, I'm sorry. This might have been a whisper. Well, this can be an open discussion. It's on a ship like this. How much prep does it take to jump to FTL?
Not very much. No, it's technically I'm supposed to make you make a ComTech roll for that, and I skipped that part accidentally. But it's not that big.
Is in the Alien universe, is jumping to FTL a way to escape like it is in Star Wars, or is it something in Battlestar, or is it something more complicated that really doesn't work for escape?
That's a really interesting point of contention. All right, it's jumping to FTL. There's not a lot of explanation except to state that that these ships use some sort of mass to create a singularity that propels them faster than light. And that's about the limit of what. There's a couple other forms of FTL, but that's about the limit of what is explained about these ships. So what I simply take that to mean is that if you're setting a course and jumping to FTL, anyone who sees you do that, if they, for instance, made a successful scan, could probably determine your course and follow you. And if they have a better FTL system than you, they could cache you in FTL. That's kind of my thought process on it.
Okay.
Okay.
So, which you guys have a pretty fast FTL, all things considered.
We do. So I'll, as a backup, I'll plot a course and get the FTL drive ready but not turned on to continue on to Arcturus.
Okay. All right. Well, make a go ahead and make a ComTech roll for that. And you would be using Apollo to help you, so you can gain a +1 from Apollo. Certainly, Apollo would be doing a lot.
Yes.
A lot of helping you with the calcs. All right, 1 success, perfect. So yeah, you've got that ready to go, no problem. All right, so you guys, I'm not going to make anyone roll for moving the crate just because I'm looking at it from the standpoint of you've got time to do it, right? As you get those preparations together, now you move the crate down to the lifeboat. Do you guys go ahead and separate the lifeboat, or are you waiting till whoever is coming to meet you?
Well,
how long until they come to meet us?
Well, you don't know exactly.
Can we
Can we spin up our super duper scientific sensors to see what the traffic is like out here? If anybody's coming towards
absolutely.
us.
Absolutely. You can make a ComTech roll with +2 with your sensors. Bob, it sounded like you were about to ask a question as well.
Yeah, just kind of, can we estimate how long it's going to take them to get here? Is it, would it typically be an hour, 2 hours?
Holy crap on a
half
crap.
a day?
wow.
Max, you have 3 stunts. So, using your sensors, there's a number of ships around GBH-45, and Jake, I think this will get this will probably get the answer you're looking for. There's a number of ships around GBH-45. A lot of them are pretty standard stuff. G-class, smaller G-class courier ships, a couple of M-class freighters, and doing different things, landing, taking off, that type of thing, making planetfall. There is also a couple of 3WE military vessels in the area. 2 of them are Corvette classes, which are relatively small overall, and there is one absolutely gigantic vessel. It is a Conestoga class frigate with the name HMS Hammer. Now, Max, you've got 3 stunts. What would you like to do with those?
Just looking at that. Any new and unexpected information?
Sure. HMS Hammer is on a direct course for you. And at its current rate of speed, it will reach you in an hour.
In an hour, okay. Let's see. So I've got 3 stunts, but I'll just bank those for a +1 to later roll.
Okay, that's fine. So that'll give you 2 banked +1s. That'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have an hour before this rather large military vessel intercepts you guys. Which is more than enough time to move the crate down, obviously.
Yeah, let's get the crate down and let's get the shuttle launched and get some distance between the 2 vessels.
Okay. All right. So I'm not going to make any force anyone to make any rolls for moving that thing. Dwayne and Mitchell are still working on there because they're going to be doing maintenance for a while. But between the 4 of the rest of you, you guys can muscle that thing down there. I'm not worried about it. So I know Dwayne is staying on board the main ship. Who's going onto the shuttle when you guys separate it?
I guess I will. I have piloting skill.
Okay. All right. right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Do you want one of the scientists with?
Well, my yeah,
Also
maybe
a
one
contact
person.
guy.
Yeah, to help me if something happens, but the less the better. So maybe just one person, I think.
If I go, I can run contact, and we have someone else to run contact back on the main ship too. So
Good idea.
Jake's got a pretty good contact too. So, all right. So you're going to, well, you're in the process of doing maintenance. So that's going to take you quite a while. So do we want Jake to go instead?
Can do.
Jake's
Okay.
got a high contact too, right?
Yeah, he's
Yes.
Yeah.
roughly comparable. So just the two of you are going onto the shuttle then.
Before we
Guess so.
do that, Jake would get a data packet ready with all the information about the virus and stuff, and
Okay.
let the others know, and just explain if that Corvette gets nasty and problematic with us, and they try to blow us out of the sky or something. Just send this data packet. It's got all the information, so the rest of the world will eventually know. Kind of a dying breath. Let everybody know if the Corvette kind of backstabs us.
All right. All right. So fast forward a little bit, unless anybody else has anything else to add.
So as discoverers for this virus, we could name it, right? We could call it COVID if we wanted to, right?
You could.
Just think it out loud.
I like that we're running into a difference already between cinematic and campaign play, where the emphasis is on with campaigns. Other people are your biggest problem, most generally.
Yeah,
Right away, it's life and death decisions, but it's are other humans going to fuck us?
that's right. That's right.
Way of the world, right?
So, all right. So you guys separate the lifeboat with Rudy and Jake on board with the cryo crate, and you said you're looking to put a little distance between the two vessels, between your lifeboat and your ship. How much distance are we talking?
Enough distance so that our main ship can hit FTL if the other ship tries to chase us.
Okay. All right. Very good. All right.
And just one more
Sure.
clarification. I probably should look up space combat. Maybe it says it in there. But what are the distances in general for ship-to-ship weapons?
Well, you're all things considered, they're relatively close in terms of how big space is, if that makes sense.
Right.
Of course, you guys are operating weapon free,
Right.
so well, that is what it is, I guess. But you would generally know that a Conestoga class frigate has plenty of weaponry that could hit you at long range. Some of its most
Right.
powerful weaponry is relatively short range, but yeah, it's definitely got long range missiles that it could fire at you and that type of thing.
Okay. So I guess far enough away, it's not going to matter because they can reach us with the weapons, but far enough away to ensure a clean FTL jump. So yeah, I agree with Bob.
All right, so that is fine. You start to move away. Max, the HMS Hammer is hailing you.
This is Magellan. Go ahead.
A very crisp speaking, crisp sounding, I should say, British accent. Very, very. Can't explain it any other way, but you can almost hear the guys. You can. Oh my God! I'm sorry. Work keeps texting me. Okay. You can almost hear his superiority in his voice when he speaks. This is Captain Mark Andrews of HMS Hammer. SS Magellan, we see that you have separated your lifeboat from your vessel. Please explain.
Roger. I informed traffic control that we would be placing the cryo box on our shuttle to facilitate transfer.
Very well. Please shut down engines, SS Magellan. You have someone on board your lifeboat, I assume?
We have the survivor in a cryo box. We have one pilot and we have one scientist that will transfer information about what we had found.
Very well. We will be pulling alongside and opening up our docking bay. Your lifeboat can have your lifeboat pilot in, and we will meet them on deck.
Roger that. I'll transmit you the frequency for the lifeboat's radio so that you can coordinate docking procedure with them. So I do that.
All right. So Rudy, after a moment, you get a hail from Captain Andrews of Hammer.
Go ahead, Hammer.
Lifeboat, we have pulled broadside. Our bay is open. Please pilot in carefully. We understand that you are carrying an individual that is potentially infected by a virus. Please explain what protocols we need to take.
Yes, this individual has the potential to be highly infectious, so maximum personal protective equipment is recommended, and quarantine isolation is also recommended.
Understood. Traffic control states that you have them in a you have this individual in a cryo crate. Is that correct?
That is correct.
How odd. Very well. All right, so go ahead and make a piloting roll, Rudy. Here it comes. Ooh, that didn't work.
That is not good. So
Would
we
you
will
like
be
to push the roll?
we will be pushing that roll. Thank you, Stress.
By the skin of your teeth. All right, so you're Rudy. You're an officer by trade, not a pilot, and you suddenly become rather. You're definitely getting nervous as you're realizing that you're pulling this lifeboat inside another ship, and it's a much tighter squeeze than you probably realized.
Yeah, definitely wishing Max Decker was sitting here, not me.
As you bring the lifeboat to rest in the bay, you can hear there's a British but computer generated female voice. You can hear it announcing throughout the cargo bay that it's closing cargo bay doors and then pressurizing cargo bay, that type of thing. After that happens for a few minutes, a series of large doors open up, and about a half dozen individuals come through. They are wearing full hazmat suits, not pressure suits, but hazmat suits, and several of them are actually carrying 3WE assault rifles. And they start into they're walking into the cargo bay, the vehicle bay, heading towards your ship.
Do we have protective suits on, or protective suits available?
No, your compression suits would be back on the ship.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, we don't need the suits because she's in the cryopod, right?
Right. It's just I was just thinking out loud that we recommended it and we're not wearing it.
Yeah, so
Whatever. That's fine.
exactly.
I don't care. We're a survey ship, man. We're doing the best we can.
There you go. All right. So after a moment, you hear a banging on your exterior airlock, and a voice comes over your comm panel. Lifeboat, please allow us entry.
All right, moment of truth.
All right.
Open the doors.
All right. So you open
Get
the
ready.
doors,
Get ready, Jake.
and men start filing in. There's several that stay outside. Two come in that are not carrying weapons, but they are wearing hazmat suits. The other two that walk in are carrying weapons, and then there's a fifth that has a sidearm, not drawn, but he's wearing a sidearm. And I don't know how much you know about 3WE uniforms or rank insignia, as Rudy as a character. But he
Probably not a lot.
Okay, fair enough. The other men kind of fan out, and he comes forward and says, "I am Captain Andrews. Please identify yourselves."
Welcome aboard, Captain. I am Captain Rudat of the Magellan. This is Dr. Sinclair, one of our scientists, and this cryopod contains the survivor from Alpha Casea 2 that we mentioned. I realize we've told you this already, but I want to make it perfectly clear that you need to handle her with extreme caution. We really don't have all the information on what exactly she's infected with, so we believe it's best to assume the absolute worst and use maximum protective protocol with her.
And you say you don't have all the information, but you know she's infected. How do you know she's infected with a virus or pathogen, quite specifically?
She told us.
Oops, I was going to say something different.
She told you, and she's shoved in a cryo crate. And he looks at it for a moment, and he looks back at you and says, "That crate has Russian writing on it. Where did this survivor come from?"
Look, Alpha Casea 2 has what appears to be an unregistered UPP colony on it. Beyond that, we simply can't tell you more because we just don't know more. She's the sole survivor, and she put herself.
Where is the Alpha Casea system?
I will give him the approximate coordinates. It's not a secret.
That is unclaimed space, and you say she's from a UPP colony there?
That's correct. While performing a survey of the system, we picked up what we thought might be possibly a distress beacon, and so we descended. We made planetfall and discovered that yes, indeed, there was a colony there, and no one returned our hails. So we disembarked and investigated. We found this crate, and when we opened it, we discovered the survivor, who told us she had put herself in this crate and that she was infected with the virus. The station side security footage appears to validate her story. There were no other survivors. In fact, there were quite a few dead bodies on site.
And you can provide us that security footage?
We will transmit our records to you, yes.
Such as we got, I think our priority was to get off the planet as opposed to finding all the details. We're not a medical team, as you will well know.
Well,
and please be aware, Captain, as the doctor is saying here, we're a survey team. I mean, this is way above our pay grade, sir.
We're just basically complying with interstellar law to drop a person in distress off at the nearest medical facility. So basically, she's yours now. And
Interesting. And this individual's a UPP citizen.
We
um,
really don't know. We assume so.
but even if they aren't, this is the closest medical facility. So by law, we're putting them in your care.
He nods. Yes, yes. ICC law. Rudy, do me a favor. Go ahead and make a manipulation roll. Gain a +1 from Jake.
And Jake's body language is very much, we're just dropping her off. We don't belong to you guys. We're on our way off plan, out of system again.
I guess I will be pushing this again.
You can't.
Can't.
No,
Okay,
you roll the face hugger.
screwed it. All right.
Yeah, make
Can't
your
manipulate.
panic roll, please. All right, so you're holding it together, but he kind of tilts his head a little shrewdly and says, "Captain Rudat, I simply cannot help but feel as if you're not. I can't help but feel as if you're holding something back. You're not telling us everything. You said a moment you simply don't know, and yet you seem to know quite a bit."
Unfortunately, some of the information we have is now proprietary under our survey contract. You will have to take this up with our employer.
And your employer is?
I give them the name of our employer that's somewhere in my notes.
Yeah, it's just the UA. UA Colonial Admin.
Look, the only thing we haven't told you about is our survey data, which we're contractually obligated to protect. If you want to know about the planet, you're going to have to perform your own survey. As far as this particular individual, we've told you everything that we know. And if I'm telling you that I don't know her citizenship status, it's because we didn't discuss it. Literally, the first thing out of her mouth was that she needed to go back into the cryopod because she's infected, and that was basically the end of our discussion. And any other information that we have, we are piecing together and making assumptions and best guess scenarios. And that's one of the reasons why we're recommending this level of caution from you, is that we know just enough to know that there's the potential for this to be very dangerous. So you need to be careful. But as the doctor stated, we don't have the facility to care for her. She's not even in a proper cryopod. And you're the closest source of assistance. So we're sorry to put this down on you, but we don't really have a choice here. That's
No,
what it comes down to.
we will do what is right by that individual, whomever she belongs to. Regardless of that, this system Alpha Casea is an unclaimed space, but you said is some sort of virus or pathogen. There were other dead individuals on site. How many dead people did you see? Do you know?
It's not a simple answer because the virus appears to reconstitute body composition over time. It basically desiccates the bodies to the point that they turn into ash or dust, and it can be easily scattered on the wind. So however many hands were there, it seems like they all perished. But again, we don't have a precise body count, but it looks like this is the sole survivor.
We didn't really stick around.
We will, of course, have to contact UA and UPP. And as a Lockmart CM-94B Explorer class research vessel with the most state-of-the-art science labs available on board a starship, you did, what studies did you do of this pathogen? What information can you provide us?
A good doctor's prepared a data package for you that has everything that we uncovered about it.
Very well.
I have a very abbreviated one for them with a lot of basically padding in it, but enough to help them with the woman.
All right. He says, "All right, very well." He points at the crate and a couple of the guys walk over and heft it up and start to carry it from the lifeboat. He turns and looks at you one more time. Captain Rudat, do you have anything else you'd like to add?
Not at all. Just hope you'll take good care of her and bring her back to her people when you can.
He nods and says, God willing, we will certainly help her. Meanwhile, Captain, I would appreciate it if your lifeboat would rejoin your vessel, Magellan, I believe it is called, and simply stay put for a short time. I need to communicate with my commanding officer, as well as go through proper channels in 3WE government, and I simply would like you to not disappear while I'm handling that.
We can do that, sir.
He says, very well. He says, in that case, we shall be leaving your ship as soon as everyone's clear of the cargo bay. They will decompress, open the door, and you can rejoin your vessel.
Thank you very much.
He salutes and turns crisply and leaves. You got the impression that Captain Andrews is... It's hard to tell through a hazmat suit, but you got the impression he's probably in his early 50s. He's been doing this a long time.
I imagine that he thinks that we are so full of shit. But that's okay, because he's got the girl and we get to go back to our ship.
If I were him, I'd be concerned that we're pirates and that's a bomb. That's what I'd be worried about. As soon as I take that on my ship, it's going to blow. They're going to come take anything valuable and skate back to wherever they came from.
Well, yeah, I mean, except look at us, we have nothing. We have no guns.
It's not like you boarded with a gun. It's true.
Yeah, we have nothing. We don't even have fucking hazmat suits on. But
And I would imagine look pretty nerdy at being all scientists. So
talk about a hot potato. Here's an infected person that could kill everyone on your ship. Thank you, bye.
yeah,
And you say that you were unceremoniously exposed to her previously?
Yeah,
You're telling me?
that's right. We also might be carriers, and I coughed all over you.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Nice day.
All right, so you guys are we'll cut through the rolling, and I'll just I'll let you disembark the cargo bay and rejoin the ship. And you guys, and of course, you guys, being that you're only a few hours away from the planet, of course, here you have network connectivity, so you actually have access to the outside world, as it were, if that means anything to anybody. So yeah, I mean, at this point, you can, you're, like I said, you're picking up network traffic, so you can, if you wanted to contact anybody from outside of, anybody at all outside of GBH 45, you can do it through the network. Anyway, you're simply waiting at this point.
I feel like we should make a radio transmission to the UA to let them know where we are and what we're doing. Just in case this goes south. We're not out of the woods yet, so to speak.
yeah, I would imagine.
Communications encrypted.
You can make them encrypted with a Comtech roll.
I suggest you give UA an update, but you encrypt it because we don't want a system-wide panic.
I strongly agree with that. Now that we've disclosed to the 3WE at least part of the circumstances under which we got here, there's really, if there's harm in telling the UA, it's probably no more harm than we've already done.
That works.
Yeah, I agree with everything that's being said. We'll encrypt it in this way,
Yep.
We're not starting an international incident.
How much do we want to transmit?
Well, we at least want to let them know where we are and that we've dropped off a survivor and that we're meeting with, this HMS Hammer, just in case something happens to us.
I think for full context, they need to know that we found a UPP installation. If we're looking to convey some sense of urgency, we have to tell them we found something. There's a reason why we're here.
Sure. Okay. So
We can do it now, or we can prepare a full report for later. I
Well,
was
we
just
can get
thinking
them-
of something real quick, just in case.
Let's let them
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Why
Just
don't
in
we
case we bet on the wrong horse and
We've-
these guys are actually behind it.
why don't we let them know that we've recovered someone from what appears to be a deserted or destroyed UPP installation, turned them over, and here's our coordinates. We can fill them in on details later.
Perfect. Send it.
All right, perfect. So, and at this point, I think Dwayne and Mitchell are done with maintenance because that whole exchange, just waiting for the hammer to get there, flying in, flying out, reconnecting, that takes time, right? So, you guys can all move yourselves about the map anywhere you want to be. Who's making that? Who's sending that message?
I can take care of that.
All right, so make your ComTech roll, please, because you're trying to encrypt it, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's fine. That is fine. So you've sent that off, and it's obviously it's relatively short, just a couple sentences, but that's a moment later. You receive a network message from from Colonial Admin Office on Arcturus, and it simply states, "Understood, Magellan. What is your ETA to return to Arcturus for full report?"
What are we looking at, Matt?
That's a good question.
Oh, that is a
Is
good.
it
You know
a-
what? That's probably a fair question. So let's look at that star map a second.
Yeah.
GBH 45 is there. Arcturus is there. So you're talking 1, 2, 3, 4. If we go in a straight line, it's about 6 parsecs, which is at your FTL speed is what, 36 days?
Yeah, it sounds right. 36.
Yeah, 6 times 6. So that's easily done. Oh, speaking of which, I did think about one thing, and let me get you that information.
Just one thing?
Yeah, well, I have my moments. Because it is, at this point, you guys came out of FTL at Alpha Casea on April 1st, 2184. You weren't there very long, and then you've been... So now it's what? It's April 19th. On April 1st, your first payment on your ship was made. You also received your first payment for your UA contact. So whoever's tracking this, I'm not sure what the decision was made on that. You guys have
That's me.
okay. So you have a net positive on your bank account of $23,500.
Ah, swing.
That makes Dwayne very happy.
All right.
So 23,500, huh?
Correct. The minutes stretch into hours as you guys wait. The hammer is just hanging over you ominously, blocking out the light from GBH's sun, and nothing seems to be happening. So an hour passes, 2, 3, time's just going by, and you guys are staring
Alright.
at each other.
Okay, I'll open a channel and ask for an update from.
Maybe we should just keep waiting.
Maybe we should just what? Go ahead.
I mean, I imagine this is going to take a really long time. We handed them a pretty dicey situation, so let's just hope they don't order us back to take her back.
Yeah.
You know what? We don't
her
want
to-
this. Can you just...
Well, it's too late. They've got her now. So
Yeah, but they've got really big guns.
But what did they say they wanted us to hang while they did what?
They have already been shot down by one Conestoga class frigate.
That's right. They were Captain Andrews was going to be talking with 3D with his top brass to figure out what the plan is, and he wanted you guys to stick around while that was happening.
Well, how long does it take them to talk? All right. So
Well,
how many hours have we been sitting on our hands?
You're probably getting up to 6 at this point.
Well, I
I don't
needed
see it
to
as a big
do the
deal.
work
I mean,
anyway.
we've got a 36-day cryo ahead of us. It's not like
Yeah.
we're really doing anything.
I don't think half a day to a day necessarily is unreasonable. But after that, it's I don't know what us hanging around is going to do.
Agreed.
All right, just my 2 cents worth.
All right. So, unless anybody has anything they want to add, we're going to fast forward this a little bit. You reach the 12-hour mark and still nothing. 18 hours.
I think really that's more than enough time for them to get information and get out. They're trying something funny. I think we need to get out of here, or maybe at least start our engines up to wake them up.
How long did we take studying the samples?
You guys spent about 2 shifts overall studying all the samples you had collected.
Fully agree with Jake. If we got it done on a starship and got as far as we did in 12 hours, they don't need this much time.
Let's send them a message asking for update.
If we don't like the update, we should leave without further commentary. We're for all intents and purposes UA backed. Let's at least get back to where we were hired.
Well, yeah, we're under no legal obligation, and frankly, they can't technically detain us because
Well, I think they are. They're just doing it in a very polite way.
Yeah,
well, they're
they-
being
Well,
polite.
they're British.
Legally, they can't detain us.
I'm not sure.
no, we're being colonized. So
Being colonized by the world's.
ask for an update and
your
then
comm
leave without
system
warning if
begins
we
to
don't like the
ping.
update.
all right,
The comm
I'll
system.
send the message.
Your comm system starts pinging just as you reach for it.
Okay. So open the channel.
Yeah. SS
Hello?
Magellan, this is Captain Andrews of HMS Hammer. You are free to go. Thank you for your assistance in this matter. And that's it. He cuts the channel. And Magellan starts, or not Magellan, but Hammer starts to maneuver around. It's coming about, and it looks like it's heading back for GBH 45.
All right, there's our answer.
Whew,
Sneak the
let's
jump.
get the fuck out of here.
All right. So you guys, you'd already made your ComTech roll to program FTL, so you're good to go. You hit the big red button and off you go. At this point, I will say it's been a good while since you guys woke up. So Jim, since you're handling accounting, you should probably deduct 6 prefab meals and 6 water from the ship stores.
Already did it.
All right, very good. Thank you so much. And 36 days in cryo, or in FTL. Now let's see here. Let me get my shit straight. So this is 16th of April. So you guys would come out of FTL on the 22nd of May. Just writing that down, because when you have payments being made automatically, it's important to know. Making it very simple, you guys all wake up out of cryo. And because I didn't do this last time, I'm going to make you do it this time. Let's get stamina rolls from everybody. Oh, and you can kill your stress, Rudy.
Thank you.
Yep. All right, so no successes from Jake. Who am I missing? Oh, Mitchell Roman, your stamina roll.
Where am I missing this? Oh, there we go.
Okay. So Max has a stun, so he could use that to give a success to one of those three, unless any of the three of you want to push that roll.
Yeah, I'll push.
All right, go ahead. Hey, you got a success. So
I can still get one to. I think Dwayne's going to need to. Do
Dwayne
all
pushed
his,
and got a success, so he's good.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can give that over to Jake.
Okay.
All right. So over a month in cryo in FTL, you're all a little slow to get moving because that was a long one, but you're pulling it together pretty well. Ship system shows that you are exactly where you're supposed to be, which never happens in the movies. You're in the Alpha Boatus system and approaching Arcturus. You're about 6 or 8 hours away from Arcturus, which is just enough time for certain people to do their maintenance roles because it's alien the accounting. And as you're moving in system, you're receiving a hail from the direction of Arcturus. It looks like it's coming from UA Colonial Admin. SS Magellan, respond.
This is SS Magellan. Permission to enter the traffic pattern.
Very good. Absolutely, we've been expecting you. You will be landing in Kavas 4. Coordinates being sent to your panel now. Real quick, Jake or Mitchell, if one of you wants to make the Comtech maintenance roll. You will be met at Kavas 4 by UA representatives. So when you land, wait for them to arrive, please. All right, perfect.
Roger that.
All right, very good. So this is very straightforward, easy. Max, you're making planetfall, so go ahead and make your piloting roll.
Let's see. And I get +2 on piloting.
Oh, that's right, because of your talent.
Like the back of my hand.
Yep. 2 successes. So you have a stunt, which unfortunately in piloting, there's not many options.
+1 to later roll.
Okay, that's fine. We'll make it easy. All right.
Do a barrel roll.
Yeah.
Make everybody physically ill. All right.
Tower Maverick requests a flyby.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice.
That's a negative. The pattern is full. All right. So you guys should all have that handout, right, that says Arcturus map.
We do.
Yeah.
It's
all right.
kind of small though. Maybe it's just mine.
No, maybe I can. Maybe there's a way I can. I got an idea. Give me 1 second. Let me try something. Yeah, you're right. It is rather small. Arcturus map. And let me go there. Maybe I can drag. Come on. Where is the graphic file for this? Is it in here? There it is. Uploading. This may take a few minutes. What? It's not doing anything at all. Try it again. This is weird. It will not do it at all. I was trying to make it easy. I was trying to actually just upload it to a map screen, and that way we could blow it up and make it easier to see, but now it's turning into too much of a thing. So, sorry about that. All right. Going back here then. So, yeah, Kivas 4 is one of the large round buildings, and you bring the in the main settlement. You bring the ship in, and you set her down pretty easily. The Arcturians are a different looking bunch. They're taller than most humans. They average about 6'2", 6'3", probably owing to the fact that the planet's gravity is a little is not quite as it's like 0.92 that of Earth, perhaps. But the race themselves, they're like genetically like 99.8% human, which is cause for quite a bit of debate among scientists and scholars for obvious reasons. So as you set down and bring the ship to a rest, it's only a few moments before an M577 APC actually pulls into the Kavas. These are giant. They're basically giant stone structures that are open topped. They're shaped like a dome, but there's no top on the dome, and they have large, just open entryways that lead into the streets of the city proper. And this APC just pulls in. The door opens up, and a man wearing heavy black pants, a black leather jacket, and he's got a marshal's badge on. He also has an eye patch over his left eye and a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Behind him come 4 USCMC Marines, and they're armed. Their rifles are slung. They're not, they're not. But they are with him, and they're standing in front of your ship, waiting for you guys to open up. And
Just a standard kind of reception that we're used to getting, or would we typically not see armed men standing at the entrance to?
not see armed men, and with it being a colonial marshal as well, that's very odd. Definitely odd. Typically speaking, you wouldn't really expect to be met by anybody when you just come into a port, unless you have business with someone specific. Now, of course, you guys sent that message over to UA, and they were expecting you. So, obviously, and they told you that someone was going to come meet you. But a marshal and some Marines is a little odd.
Well, I guess we got to go face the music.
Yeah, we're going to play this straight, so I guess I will, as a pilot, I'll go down along with Rudy.
Okay.
We'll talk to them.
All right. So I'm just going to drag Rudy off to the side. Go ahead. I thought I heard somebody say something. Okay.
It's my mother roaming around in the background.
Oh, okay, no problem. Okay, so the two of them are disembarking. Everybody else staying on board.
Yep, Jake is definitely staying on board, and he's sort of ready to.
Have a phone call. Okay.
Go ahead. So, Rudy, you pop open the airlock and extend the ramp, and as you're coming down, the marshal kind of squints one good eye at you, and he reaches into a pocket, pulls out a Zippo, and lights the cigarette that's kind of hanging limply out of the corner of his mouth. He's got a very gravelly voice. Captain Annika Rudit?
Yeah, that's me.
All right. I'm Marshal Rex Oberson. I was told to meet you here. I'm here with these fine lads to take you and your crew back to the Colonial Rig for debriefing. Where's the rest of your crew, Captain?
They're in the ship. I must say, Marshal, this is a little bit of an unusual welcome.
Well, this is a little bit of an unusual situation now, isn't it? Because my understanding is that your crew, having found something very interesting, went running to 3WE with it before you came here.
Well, all we did was obey ICC law and establish protocol. Do I need to call a lawyer for this meeting or
I don't
or
think
not?
so at this time. I just need to take you back. You're going to meet with some UA Colonial admin people. They want to talk to you about what you found, and we'll go from there. You're not under any charges or suspicion as suspicion at this time, with the exception maybe of breach of contract.
And you need to talk to the rest of the crew too, or can I just?
Your whole crew was there, right?
They're on board, yeah.
Well, they were all at Alpha Casea too, correct?
They were either on the planet or on board the ship. Yes.
So they all need to come along. Your ship will
All
be
right.
just fine. Don't worry about it. I'm sure these good Arcturus roughneck boys will be happy to keep an eye on her.
I'll get the crew. Give me a second.
All right. By the way, Jim, since you're doing Alien the accounting, because we passed May 1st, so that's another what? That's another 23.5 into the account.
Sweet. More money to pay off these cops.
All right, so Rudy, you run back into the ship and just
Yeah,
collect
bad news,
everybody,
guys. Yeah, they want us all present. And evidently, we don't need a lawyer yet. We're not being charged with anything.
That doesn't mean we don't need a lawyer.
Definitely agree with that.
All right.
But I don't think we have any choice. We have to go talk to them.
I think we do too, but they're going to come on the ship while we're not here.
I think we can.
They're going to take
There's
whatever.
got to be a way
information-
we can lock this thing up, right?
Sure.
Well, we can try, but I'm going to suggest in addition that there's a million places. I know this ship like the back of my hand. There's a million places where I can hide stuff. Doc, I suggest we do a backup of all the information. I'm assuming you already have, and let me hide that. Let me hide a backup drive with all the data someplace on the ship.
That's a fucking
Well,
killer idea.
'Cause they might take all the data and erase our the memory on our hard drive.
It's a good idea, but it's dangerous. Just realize what you're doing, because it's a dangerous game.
Then what we're saying is we don't care if they just take it and erase our hard drive. We just don't care.
I personally
Is
don't.
there a way we can make and stash a copy?
Well, that's what Dwayne's talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
We are taking a risk that they find where I stash it, and then they'll say we're up to no good. So,
Yep.
hey,
I mean, me personally, I would vote on just giving them everything, because at this point, I don't know that we should
yeah, why
care.
not? We don't-
But if you guys want to, do the sell it to the highest bidder thing, we can
No,
talk about
I
that
don't. I
too.
don't want to do that. I now that I think more about it, I would think my feeling is that they paid us to go out and find shit. We found some shit. Let them have it all. Let's move on to the next thing.
That's exactly how I feel about it.
All right.
You see, Jake looks a bit sullen, but he's not saying anything.
Yeah, same with Roman. Probably looks like not quite what he'd like to do, but what are our options?
All right.
Okay.
All right. So here's what we're going to do.
Just
Go ahead, Jake.
quickly, Jake gives a drive to Dwayne and just kind of tell him stuff it somewhere just in case.
What about the UPP cache?
Well, we'll probably discuss and explain everything, and then they will decide what to do with it. I'm guessing. If we're lucky, we get to keep it. But yeah, I do really think we need a drive as kind of insurance, and the drive is encrypted. We can say it's anything from our backup accounting information to Dr. Mitchell singing in the shower backups. Got nothing to do with them.
Do people who work for the different colonial administrations and governments out there are we routinely familiar with the fact that sometimes they just kill people for information control or other matters of convenience? Or is that just something that's rumored among the more cynical people in the stars? My question being, like, how much suspicion should we actually have that the UA means us harm?
That's a very complex question.
On
I
an
think that
in-character
would be,
basis.
yeah, I would think that would be a character per character basis based on that character's life experience. I don't think that as a general rule, most people think the government is specifically out to get them. But there's certainly rumors that float around on the frontier.
And there's some things out there, like clearly someone destroyed Hadley's Hope. Clearly something bad happened
Absolutely.
on Fury 161 or 151. Is it
161? Yeah,
and
that's the guy who wrote Space Beast came from there, and then after he wrote Space Beast, it got banned and he disappeared.
Right.
Stuff like that. So
Morse.
But maybe in general, people don't know who the bad actors are. They probably have their own opinions.
Okay.
So,
I was just wondering if it's like an everyone knows the government will kill you if they think they need to kind of thing.
I don't know that it's quite that extreme unless you're one of those guys,
Unless you've seen, or you've seen it happen, right?
That's right. All right, so I'm sorry. So the consensus was you guys are hiding a backup, or you're just giving it all to them? Okay. All right. And then
My only question was about the money. Do we giving them the money too? Because we'll never see that money again.
I think we could give it to them because it's not that much in UA dollars anyway, and we seem to be getting 23.5 every month.
Yeah.
You know,
net profit.
There's another possibility. I mean,
You
maybe
also have the power loader.
maybe they're happy enough with what we've found. We catch some kind of bonus. We found something they didn't know about on an unsurveyed planet. So, who knows?
All right. Well, okay.
If we're not going to risk it for the info, why risk it for Russian cash?
Right.
It's true.
Agreed.
That's
We
true.
can even tell them about the power loader. I don't know that they would want it. I mean,
We can say it. I don't think we should say anything unless they ask us, and then we say, "Oh, well, we appropriated it because all those guys were dead, and we needed to get this cryo.
Yeah, it's a simple matter
We
of
had to get this cryo box in the ship."
expedience. Right. Yeah, we have the perfect excuse for that, and they can have it back if they want.
If you guys want it, you can have it. But if you don't want it, we can put some use to it after I paint it yellow.
All right. All right. So, okay. So, as far as the UPP cash is concerned, you guys are just basically taking it with you to pony it up to them if they feel the need, they want it. Is
Yeah,
what amounts to.
but get
Okay.
But get a receipt. We don't want one of these middle-level guys absconding with the cash and then saying we never
Right.
gave.
That's
Yeah.
right. All right. So you guys climb into the M577. A couple Marines go in before you. The other two to fall in behind you, and Rex is the last person to climb in. And the APC, weaves through these streets. The city, the Arcturan city is kind of built radially. It's built kind of like a wheel, and the streets themselves are actually cut down into the rock. So they're, ground level's actually above you as you go through these streets, and eventually it exits the city and into one of the butte passes. You're heading north, which is where the trading post and the colonial rig and station are. And you pass by the trading post and you approach the colonial rig, which is it's a military base essentially. There's a platoon of USCMC guys that are on garrison there, as well as all the colonial admin and marshal's offices. Large gate opens up. Thing's probably 20 feet tall, very heavy, designed to withstand heavy weapons blasts, that type of thing. As you pull into the base, there's a heavy Ridgeway tank off to the left. There's other APCs. There's various support staff, not Marines per se, but support staff everywhere doing different things, maintenance on vehicles, that type of thing. You pull up to the main colonial building, and Rex stands up and goes, "Well, we're here. So come on in and let's get this all sorted out." He pops the door, lights another cigarette as he walks up to the main doors. You guys are escorted in, and you're brought into a room that looks concerningly like an interrogation room. Big metal table, nothing else in the room except for some chairs and what's got to be a two-way mirror on the other side. Rex says, "Make yourselves comfy. I'll be back." And he heads out the door, leaving 2 Marines inside. The Marines they're just standing there, flanking the door. Yeah.
But they're inside.
But they're inside. Oh, there's 2 outside, too.
Yeah, nice. Well, just take a seat and relax, I guess.
Says a lot.
Yeah. Take a seat and relax in a nice metal folding chair. About 10 minutes later, the door opens up and you see Rex Overson. He returns, and he's got a couple suits with him. And then there's another guy that's in a short sleeve button-up shirt he's got a tie on. Looks like the world's looks like he's about ready to win Insurance Salesman of the Month. And Rex says, "All right, well, why don't you guys just start from the top?" You're out on survey.
Do you want us to actually speak this, or do you want us to just hand wave it?
Just give me a basic overview of what you say to him. If there's any information you're not sharing, or if you're just putting it all out there, just tell me what the thought process is.
I think we should just put it all out there. Here's what happened. Here's, we came into the system. We picked up a transmission from Alpha Casea 2. Despite it being with no registered settlements, we became concerned that this might be excuse me for a second. We became concerned that this might be a request for assistance, so we made plan and fall to investigate, found the settlement, went in to look around, immediately discovered the presence of dead bodies and desiccated bodies.
One of the suits speaks up. At what point did you come to the conclusion that this was a UPP settlement?
Well, when we broke past the electromagnetic interference that was preventing us from decoding the transmission, our first clue was that the transmission was in Russian. And then we had further evidence of it when we arrived
and
at
that
the
transmission
settlement.
said what exactly?
Said that they required assistance.
All right.
And it was also on a frequency commonly used by UPP.
One of the other suits, he kind of squints for a moment and says, and how would you know that it's a frequency commonly used by the UPP? Do one of you have something you'd like to say about associations with the UPP, perhaps?
What are you insinuating? I mean, we're a frontier survey vessel. This is our business, is to know.
It'd be grossly irresponsible if we didn't understand who was communicating across our lines.
This is the kind of thing we deal with all the time.
All right. He gets quiet and he kind of nods. Rex goes, "Okay, so you went into the colony and you found a bunch of dead people."
That's right, and we kept investigating. We eventually found a cryo container, and when we opened it, there was a survivor inside.
What were the causes of death of the people you found dead? Did you determine that?
This is a complicated question with a complicated answer because we don't have all the information, but it appears to be some kind of airborne virus. The actual cause of death is hard to say. Maybe some kind of genetic the virus messes with the gene code somehow. The end result is that the bodies desiccate to the point that they lose cohesion.
Rex just kind of, okay, whatever that means.
If we had to simplify it, our best educated guess is that the bodies died due to dehydration, but there were probably a variety of factors that caused that to happen.
One of the first suit speaks up and says, "So, this survivor you found in the cryo crate, is this the individual that you just took it upon yourselves to deliver to the Three World Empire?"
Yes, we took it upon ourselves to follow ICC law.
Who are you again?
He says, "I am representative of UA interests in this matter, and in fact, I'm one of the individuals that makes decisions about your contract."
So if you're colonial administration, you shouldn't need us to explain ICC law to you. You deal with contractors all the time. You know exactly why we took them to the nearest medical facility.
That's true.
And,
However,
and you know that while we value our contract with you, we certainly don't want to break the law and wind up in prison.
That being
ICC
said,
law
your
does
ship
supersede our
is
contract.
capable of, your ship does have cryotubes, does it not? And this individual, as you said, was secured in a cryo crate. So the matter of 3 parsecs versus 5 for you to come to Arcturus as opposed to GBH 45 doesn't seem to have really been an imminent issue at that moment in time. It seems that you could have easily come back to Arcturus.
Contrary to that, as the pilot, the chief pilot of Magellan, it's my responsibility to assure safety of the vessel, as that is to assure safety of its occupants. Upon opening the crate, she insisted that she remain in the crate and go back into cryo because she was in danger. We did not want to cross-contaminate the ship's systems with whatever she may be carrying. We may not have even arrived here had we tried the method that you suggest. We may not even have the ship and the information we are giving you right now.
Also, from a medical and scientific standpoint, the only thing we had to go on was the word of the victim herself. So we had no context for what we were dealing with, and protocol dictates that we get to the nearest, most readily available medical facility.
And from just the point of view of pragmatism, I don't remember you being there, and I don't remember you trudging your way through desiccated bodies, and I don't remember you having a vote.
He says,
we could certainly take you there if you'd like.
He says, all right, so continue on. This survivor, and then the second suit actually speaks up. One moment about the survivor. I am curious. I am curious about this survivor. You are on a UPP colony, and you're saying she told you herself that she was infected with something. Did she speak English?
No, but we were able to use our ship's computer to translate what she was saying.
Oh, your ship's computer. So none of you speak Russian.
No.
Yet.
Negatory.
He kind of tilts his head. He says, "You're funny." So the ship translated that. Okay, very well. And he goes quiet again. Rex says, "All right. So what happened next?"
Well, we eventually located the settlement's master computer, which we interrogated, found video footage from the last 30 days that we reviewed, and we'll be submitting it to you as part of our data package.
Yeah, we've already got guys on your ship collecting everything.
Okay. Well, then you'll be able to review the footage for yourself, but what we surmised was that there was some kind of event approximately 66 days ago on the planet that resulted in some kind of mass contamination. We're not sure if it was rainfall or some other airborne delivery, but this virus basically contaminated the entire personnel of the settlement. and it appears that they had very little time to help themselves. In fact, people started dying almost immediately. The survivor,
Real quick, the insurance salesman of the year, he's looking very uncomfortable with this whole line of conversation, and in fact, he's starting to sweat quite a bit. He's like getting pit stains under his arms.
Fucking risk analysts.
And he says, and okay, to be clear, you're certain that your ship is not contaminated or infected in any way, correct? We can't be bringing that to Arcturus.
To be perfectly clear, are you still unhappy we didn't directly bring this back to your office, sir?
He says, my only purpose here is to make sure that Arcturus is safe. Now, these other gentlemen, they have their own reasons.
Again, and Dr. Sinclair can fill in any gaps if he feels there are any here, but everyone started dying from the records that we saw right away. No one here appears to be infected, no one here is desiccated, and no one here has crumbled into some kind of oily ash. So no, we don't believe we're infected.
our ship didn't pick up any.
If you do have any people on our ship already, without asking us about it, there were some areas in the ship that might be contaminated, so it's best to scrub them down real good with a big, uncomfortable brush.
Jake, make a manipulation roll.
Oh, push that.
Okay. No successes. The second suit, the more aggressive of all four men in there, he kind of tilts his head again and goes, "Yeah, you think you're funny. Okay, we get it. We get it. It's all a big joke to you. It's all a joke until the commies start invading UA planets with their bioweapons."
With all due respect, if this were a joke to us, we wouldn't be sitting here. We would never even have contacted the 3WE. In all honesty, I think I could probably speak for everyone with the crew here. If anyone's not taking this seriously, it's you.
He says, "I'm taking this very seriously. Anything having to do with the UPP is very serious. Do you have any idea what you have stepped in here? The political and diplomatic ramifications of this alone are just completely beyond any realm that you've probably even considered. So we've got your ship just happened to stumble on an unknown UPP colony in an area of unclaimed space. You just happened to go there. That's really rather fascinating to me, and I'm still not sure I understand how that occurred. But neither here nor there. A UA contracted exploration vessel has gone to a UPP colony that is, as far as we know, off the books, and on top of that, have stolen money and equipment from that facility.
I don't like your tone of voice, sir. And also, we gave you everything that we found there. That is not stealing.
And you hired us to go out there. What does it matter how we found it or what we found? This is our job.
And from what I'm hearing,
I think we might be done talking to you.
Rex kind of holds a hand up. He goes, all right. There's no charges being filed at this time. You understand that we are going to need to hold you here for a short time. We have people that are currently going through all of the data and information that we've recovered from your ship that you found on this Alpha Casea 2 place. We're going to look through all of this. We need a little bit of time. You're not under any suspicion at this time, he says with a pointed look at the little McCarthy.
What's his name? What's the
marshal's name?
No, I know he's Rex, but what's the the head of the suit's called? What's his name?
Well, there's three other guys here, and to be honest, I hate to admit I didn't name them.
Okay, so it doesn't matter. Don't sweat it.
We can call him McCarthy. It works.
That's fine.
But I would like to say something to McCarthy, if I might.
Sure.
And I would like to point out that he's looking at this all the wrong way. You know, he really owes us a vote of gratitude because we have operated 100% in the open, 100% documented every step of everything that we've done. We've complied with every bit of galactic law. Everything that we've done can be double checked, triple checked, and even going all the way back to the reason why we were in Alpha Cassea 2. We're a public enterprise with a contract going back however many months. We've done all this work for you already. Alpha Cassea is absolutely routine for us. If anybody has anything to hide here, it's the UPP. We just happen to be the instrument of discovery. And you should be thanking us for our professionalism because we're delivering to you this novel virus, which who knows what the hell you're going to do with it. We've delivered a survivor, which goes to show our good intent, namely your good intent.
We contacted you and even made sure the 3WE didn't find out about it. We've done everything we could for the UA.
And can I also add that you now know more than the UPP does about what happened on their secret settlement?
Assuming they haven't found it yet.
Well, McCarthy speaks up and says those are all very well-reasoned arguments that you've had plenty of time to consider and put together. All I know is that the FBI thought it important enough to throw me on a Conestoga-class frigate and rush me out to this place for these interviews. So, fair enough. Rex says, "Look, Mr. McCarthy, you didn't even need to come out here. This is a colonial admin issue, not an FBI issue." McCarthy goes back to him and goes, "It absolutely is an FBI issue. Anything involving United America's involvement with UPP and unknown settlements, that becomes an FBI issue." McCarthy says the FBI isn't supposed to go beyond the UA borders on Earth. It has nothing to do with
not cut him off, but like talk over to him and say, Captain Radat, maybe we should reconsider our legal counsel position.
Oberson says, if you wish to consider a lawyer, we certainly can find you one. But by the time a lawyer gets out here from Earth, if you want your own lawyer, the whole thing's probably going to be over. So if you would all make yourselves at home here, and we will be back in a bit.
Just one more thing. We're going to need a receipt for all this cash we're handing over to you. You know, just to keep everything on the up and up.
That should resolve your political concerns as well. If the UPP says anything, return it.
Yeah, Rex is kind of nodding, and the FBI guy just shrugs and kind of looks off to the side. The first suit speaks up and says, "I'll have to consider that for a moment. We will. I'll get you a receipt for the money. I don't know that the UPP even knows or cares about their cash disappearing. We don't even know who it belonged to. According to your own report, the room you found it in, that individual was dead. So I don't know that it belongs to anybody except maybe that person's next of kin if they have one, and who knows who that is." So
well, that would be your problem, not ours.
That's a true statement. As far as the power loader's concerned, I understand that you needed to use that in order to move the crate easily to your ship. I don't know that the power loader is of concern. What the UPP doesn't know isn't going to hurt them.
Plus, you know where to get us if you want it back, so...
Yep, that's a true statement. So, if you'll pardon us, gentlemen, and he stands up. The FBI guy McCarthy, he kind of and stands up, pushes his chair, and he's the first out the door. Pit stain / insurance salesman. He can't seem to get out of the room quickly enough. He's more than happy to exit. And Rex says, do you folks need anything? I can get you some bad coffee. You want some water, something to eat?
That sounds good.
All right.
Coffee
Thank you very much.
Great. Yep.
We'll
Coffee and
get you
bagel.
something in.
Sinclair likes bagels.
And space bacon. Don't
I'll
forget the
take a
space
scotch.
Bacon.
bacon. All right. It's quite clear that you're going to be here for a while. After an hour or two, this room is getting rather uncomfortable. There's no question. It's just, it's stagnant air. There's really nothing to do except stare at each other. The two Marines that are there at this point have kind of eased off and are more just leaning against the wall. They don't look like they want to be there any more than you guys do. After a few hours, the door opens up, and the first suit, not the FBI McCarthy and not the insurance salesman, but the first suit, he comes in and he brings with him this guy, if I can find him. Where is he? Should see a handout. Whoa! What the heck? I tried to share the handout and it made me log back into Roll20.
Yep. Handout says no.
Didn't work? Let me try it again.
Yeah, I don't think it worked. It made me log in, and it doesn't appear to contain
That-
anything.
I got it now.
Okay. That's strange. Oh, well, wait a minute. I probably shouldn't have done it that way. Actually, now that I think about it, hold on one second. I'm sorry. I'm pulling that out. There we go.
I see a little dude on the map.
Yeah, so this guy walks in. Early 40s, short hair.
It wants me to log in.
He is, well, I pulled him up on the map so you can just see him. He is
Didn't change anything.
wearing a USCMC uniform. He's not wearing armor or even like combat or deck fatigues like the other guys. He's wearing an actual dress uniform. I'm sure one of you recognizes his rank insignia as Lieutenant Colonel. Rex Oberson's with him. Rex says, Marshal Rex Oberson says, I'd like to introduce to you Lieutenant Colonel Charles Price of the USCMC. Price, he takes a seat and he says, I command the 31st MAU of the entire Crestus sector. So you can understand why the USCMC has been brought into this conversation. Rex says, as it stands now, your crew, there's no charges pending against your crew. You've done nothing wrong as far as UA or ICC regs are concerned. So I've got nothing else to add to this except you all better be safe out there. He lights up a cigarette and he excuses himself. Colonel Price says, in case you didn't catch this gentleman's name, this gentleman is Jeffrey Smith. He's from UA Colonial Admin. And oh man, I'm using Rex Oberson's voice. Sorry. He says he's from UA Colonial Admin, and we obviously have just this situation is foobar, obviously. So the problem we have now is that we're in communication with the UPP and explaining to them that we found their colony, which they didn't even tell us they were founding. They had made no official claims with the ICC, nothing. And that colony was attacked by somebody. Some form of bioweapon was unleashed that seems very similar to what's been happening on the frontier. The UPP is accusing us, and of course your ship was there. Now, we have proof that shows you had nothing to do with it. It doesn't change the fact that this has become an extremely sticky situation. The Colonial Admin guy chimes in and says, we have additional issues with, now we've got 3WE involved, which we understand your reasoning for doing that. In general, we disagree with it, but you are following ICC regs. We'll have further conversation about that. Meantime, we've just got a diplomatic shit show going on here.
We don't actually even know, Lieutenant Colonel, whether the colony was attacked. For all we know, they encountered something local or indigenous that spread through before they could contain it. We have no idea if there were other people involved in this.
Well, I understand what you're saying, but simply put, we've seen several incidents like this across the frontier. And either we have a pathogen that is naturally occurring on multiple frontier worlds, or it's a bioweapon. Frankly, my money is still on the UPP. The UA does not use, create, invest in, or propagate bioweapons. It's against the Geneva Convention. UPP, on the other hand, as far as we know, they're testing this on their own people. So
you're saying they wiped out their own settlement?
Well, it's a settlement that no one knew about. It wasn't on the books whatsoever. Regardless,
medical black site does make sense. They could have been doing illegal research and it blew up in their faces. Who knows? But it's above our pay grade. What do you want from us?
Well, that's what's interesting. I don't want anything from you at this point. We have collected all the data that you've collected. We have all the information. We have everything. However, what we don't have is a means to legitimately continue your contract at this point. Before you say anything, the UA admin guy pops up and says, the problem we've got here is that your contract is no longer necessary. The simple fact of the matter is, with you finding this UPP colony and who knows how many others there are, combined with continued clashes on the frontier with the UPP, we are not going to add more fuel to that fire by putting your ship out there under UA contract any further to potentially run into any more undeclared UPP colonies. Additionally, well, if you look at your contract, Article 3, Paragraph 22, Subsection 13A, you'll see that we can pretty much put this situation under that clause, and at this point the UA will no longer be needing your services surveying the frontier. Lieutenant Colonel Price does, however, add, however, the United Americas does thank you for your patriotic duty in bringing all this information to us. There's no telling how many lives you will save with this.
Well, that's a small consolation for being out of work.
And it sounds like you're saying you're canceling all your survey contracts on the frontier due to this situation? Or just ours?
With prejudice. Certain contracts with prejudice. Unfortunately, yours is included.
Okay.
You know what? There was something I thought about and then I lost it for a moment. Um,
Any clause in the contract about early termination and a payout if that happens?
there is, and it's a standard contract written by the best lawyers that the government can buy, and it states that an amount that is that can be determined by UA at the time. Did you ask that publicly, or are you just out of game question asking that?
I'm assuming we would have read the contract before we accepted it.
You
so
would
I'm
have.
just answering
You would have. It was a
So I-
standard contract.
And we agreed we're all more or less co-owners of the ship, right? Like we own this business together.
Right.
Right.
So is this what Rex meant when he said we don't need a lawyer? It sounds to me like maybe we need a lawyer.
We're being terminated for convenience.
Well, the colonial admin suit says, well, if you feel like you need a lawyer, you can certainly get a lawyer, and sometime, perhaps in the next 5 or 6 years, we'll be able to settle this matter. In the meantime, you might want to consider shipping freight.
Yeah, don't worry about us. We'll be fine.
Colonel Price says, well, I think that this matter is closed at this point. However, I did allow for some special dispensation because we understand that this was your livelihood. So the UA is going to stroke a check to you for $50,000. That should help give you a little bit of time to figure out what you're doing.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're free to go, folks. Thank you so much for your time, and that's it. He motions when the Marine opens the door, and you guys are free to go.
All right.
Let's leave.
I'm very, very curious to see if they fucked up our ship. So I'd like to go and survey if they've caused any damage or disassembled things they shouldn't disassemble.
Before we get back in the ship, I would just like to say something to everyone. Let's make sure they haven't planted any listening devices or other kinds of bullshit on our ship to entrap us in some shit.
I agree.
That's a good idea.
So
why don't we
I'd
do
like-
this? Before we do anything, why don't we take a quick 5-minute break, and then we've got a hard stop in about an hour. But you guys are let out, so you're basically just up at the colonial rig, the trading post, and the the trading post and the station are right nearby. If there's any shopping or anything you want to do where that stuff is concerned, you're right near it. Of course, you can always just head back.
No, I think it'd be a good idea to plus up the ship stores, get to max again. So we didn't go through a whole lot, but why not?
Sure. Arcturus is even though the population of the native Arcturians is not substantial.
I'm back.
Oh, there he is. All right, good. Arcturus is, while it's a frontier world, the USCMC has a heavy presence in the sector, and there's, colonial admin's got an office here. The point is, most anything should be readily available. Of course, you wouldn't really be able to buy military grade type stuff. But most anything in the book that you would want should be here at a book price. Nothing would be too inflated. So you guys can think about that. In the meantime, before we do that, you guys survived the first scenario.
Oh, nice.
Hooray!
Scenario.
We didn't die.
Hey.
Yep. Scenario progressive destruction. So let's talk about some experience. You will have to have your character sheets open, and there's a series of questions that you guys can answer on your own, and if the answer is yes, you get an experience point. Number 1, did you participate? You get an XP point just for being there. And we're going to give Jesse that one because he was here for the first session. It's not his fault he couldn't make it.
I'll also take one then too.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 2, did you risk or sacrifice something to further your personal agenda? So that's where you got to look at your agenda, and it specifically states, did you risk or sacrifice something?
I'd have a question. Do you remember my personal agenda?
That is, I vaguely remember it. Let me pop it open.
So there's a general sense in which I'm always doing that, which I would not make an attempt to argue. There's a specific sense in which, my part in the risks that we took going to the UPP colony and whatnot are all linked to that. So I'm wondering if that qualifies, and if you got to say no, then it's a no.
No, I'll give it to you. It's definitely, yeah, I'll do that. That's all good. Anybody else have a question about their agenda, whether or not you think it qualifies?
I think I might have qualified by sending the shuttle out instead of.
Yeah, and I'm very easygoing on these too. Yeah. I'm good.
Okie dokie.
All right, this one is a little more specific. Did you risk your life for your buddy PC? I don't know that anybody is in that position on this one.
Depends what you mean by risk your life.
Well, do you have an argument to make?
Well, I mean, we all took risks by exposing ourselves to a virus.
True.
We took risks for the survivor, certainly.
But did you risk your life specifically for your buddy?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah,
Let's
I don't
see
know.
here. Yeah, I really don't think that anyone. I really don't think that anyone did anything specific on that particular question to qualify for the point on this one. Which would lead us to the next one. Did you challenge or stand up to your rival PC? That should be pretty easy to answer, I think, for most of you.
Are buddies and rivals supposed to be public, or should we be keeping that private and just acting
I
it
would
out?
keep it private and act it out.
Yeah, because you said they're not. Obviously, they're not mutual. Not necessarily.
Not necessarily, correct. All right. Everybody ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
This one's easy. Did you make a panic roll? I think everybody made a panic roll. Next one is also easy. Did you overcome a dangerous event using violent or non-violent means? That one, everyone should get that one. That's not a question. This could have been very dangerous, believe it or not. I know it seemed like a walk in the park, but
the few times I think we were in danger, though. At the colony, when we made a decision to go contact an unrelated government, and then when we came back and dealt with the colonial marshals and the Marine Corps, in addition to administration, any of those could have gone south if we went wrong.
I don't disagree. Did you make a significant discovery or revelation? I think everybody qualifies on that one. Did you earn any money? Everyone gets that one. And then here's the last one, and this one requires you to think about the course of the whole game. Did you perform an extraordinary action of any kind?
Yes, we all did, and it's directly linked to the discovery. We discovered something new and unknown out there in the stars. We made a potential advancement about a phenomenon that's been plaguing the colonies.
Unfortunately, I feel like that's covered under the question: did you make a significant discovery or revelation?
I think
In that
the
case,
discovery-
maybe just the scientists could get this one because they actually had to make rolls.
Yeah, I think the spirit of this question, I think the spirit of this particular question, did you perform an extraordinary action of some kind, is really in the spirit of those moments in the game where everything relies on one particular role. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually was to my own detriment or the detriment of my prior argument. I think like one of the things that Mitchell wants to do now is to try to sequence the genome of this microbe that we've identified, if possible. I feel like this kind of thing would be more for like completing a project like that, where it's
Yeah, I would give you
we
that.
did, it's
yeah.
not like we came up with a solution to what's ailing the colonies out there in the rim worlds.
No, that's a true statement.
An example is in one of the previous games, my character, Sergeant Storm, brought down a military shuttle with a pulse rifle.
Yeah. A
That's an
UPP
extreme example.
a UPP dropship. He unloaded
Dropship.
on it with his pulse rifle, did major component damage, and knocked the engine out on the damn thing.
Xenomorphs do it with their teeth. It can be done.
Yeah.
It can be done. Don't be afraid.
Another example is in a Destroyer of Worlds playthrough I did. The player playing Dante basically nuked the alien queen with a with her rocket launcher. It was just over. It was like, yeah, that was one of those moments as the GM where you're just like, fuck this, fuck that, fuck everything.
My encounter was not very good.
There's that meme where DM says, "Okay, fuck you guys." The Xenosith shows up.
Yeah.
It's
Back when I started playing, it was Kane and Glitter Boy armor riding a beholder. Is what we always used to tell people was coming for them.
So you guys have experience points. I think all of you should be at least 5. So you can start to think about how you want to spend those.
Also, for money, how does that impact us personally? Do we divvy up the money that we've been given? We could probably talk about it in character as a group since we've just been cut off from our finances, but we also got that bonus. So I'm just wondering how that plays out for our individual resources.
Where are you
And
tracking?
if that's an in-character conversation we should have, then I think we have a lot of things to talk about in character anyway.
Yeah. Jim, where are you tracking the cash situation? Is that on the ship stores page?
That's correct. I haven't
Okay.
put in the 50K yet, though.
Okay, so that means you guys have almost $100,000.
75, yeah.
Yeah, because it was
More than 75.
what
No,
was
it's 100. Right? Yeah.
It was
more than
20. It was 23.5 for each month, which was 47, and then 50 grand. So yeah, you got 97 grand. So yeah, you guys can have that discussion how you want to do that. In terms of XP expenditures, your options are very simple. Number one, you can buy a talent, which a talent costs 5 XP. So if you're buying a talent that anyone in the group already has, basically they can just teach you how that talent works and you've got it. If you're buying a talent that no one in the group has, you get to roll wits once per day to see how long it takes you to learn the talent. And then the other option is you can put a point in any skill that you made a roll on during this scenario. And that's the key. You have to have made a roll on that skill.
I'm sorry, I lost track. What were you just last saying about you could spend it on adding a point to a skill instead of a new talent? Is that
Correct. You can spend 5 XP on either a talent or 5 XP on a point that you put on a skill. But it has to be a skill that you rolled on during this scenario. Whether you succeeded or failed didn't matter. The point is you rolled that skill. A lot of Slices and Dices, which is a gaming group I really like. They play it that you have to have had a successful roll in order to up that skill, but I don't really agree with that because in life our failures usually teach us more than our successes.
Yeah.
So the skill, the talent, does that have to be within your career, or
No, you can buy any talent that is one of your career talents or off the general tree.
okay? Well, this might take a little while.
Well, you don't have to decide right now. It's something you can think about, unless you got something right off the cuff you want to do.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah, I spent to add a point to stamina. Stop that.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so if you make that expenditure, just deduct the XP points off your character sheet, and
I spent them. How does story points work in campaign play?
that is a very, very good question. Story points are awarded in campaign play one of two ways. Number one, just like the XP question, did you do anything extraordinary? For instance, nuking the alien queen with a rocket launcher would qualify. That could award you a story point. Also, if you made any significant attempt or advancement of your agenda, you would get a story point. So I would kind of allow you guys to look at that. In fact, I'll just go down the list. Starting from left to right. Bob, yeah, I see that. Let's see, who's next? Rudy. I'm a little... Rudy, I like the second part of the agenda. I'm a little confused about the first part. Oh, no. Rudy, you're good. Sorry. I'm good. I figured it out. I had a dumb moment.
I can expound more if you need me to.
No. I'm good. Max, absolutely. Dwayne Dunning.
So was that a yes or no for me?
Yes, that's you. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, Dwayne, you're good. That's a yes. And then Dr. Mitchell Roman. I would definitely say you've made advancement on it, so I will definitely give that to you.
Okay.
You at least have some ideas, and this is also the point where you guys can change your agendas, your buddies, and your rivals. So, and you can think about that, and you don't have to make a decision this moment, but it's something to think about, because over the course of these types of games, sometimes the person that you are rivals with ends up not being the person you end up being a rival with, if that makes sense. So if you can think over the last scenario, and if you want to make those changes to buddy or rival, and if you want to make any modifications to your personal agenda, please do. And yeah, go ahead.
And to clarify our discussion we're going to have coming up, what is our monthly loan payment on the ship?
60. I know the answer to that. I promise I know the answer to that. 76.5.
So we don't have much money at all.
Nope.
You got enough cash to cover your next loan payment, which is due in 9 days. With a little extra. Yeah, a little extra.
All right, so that's probably going to be our first discussion: is what can we do? Where can we get hired? Where can we get hired so we can continue these loan payments?
So we should probably I figure get back in character, because one of the issues that we have with having this conversation is that we're not quite sure where it's secure. Like, this isn't a conversation I'm having from Marines. The guys already said, let's check for listening devices. We have to make some kind of discrete decisions.
Yeah,
so you guys want to head back to the ship? Is that the idea?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've got a few minutes before we have to stop. Let's finish up all this. All details.
All right. That works. That works.
So to check the ship for listening devices, would that be an observation roll?
I would think it would be. To be honest, I think there'd be one of two ways to do it. I think you could physically go through the ship and check, and I think you could also use the ship's sensors to scan the ship. As you, I will tell you, as you guys make your way back to your ship and you enter Kvass number 4, where your ship is parked, and there's Arcturian roughnecks around. There's people moving, crates and freight and stuff like that. One of the Arcturian roughnecks that works in the area sees you approaching your ship, and he starts heading your way.
Sounds terrific.
He walks up to the.
Sorry, we're not hiring, buddy.
He shakes his head. He says, and he has this very strange alien accent. He says, "No. Pretty lady asked me to give this to you," and he holds an honest-to-God paper envelope towards you.
Paper? How anachronistic.
Old school. What's he got?
So you take it, and he just turns and walks away. It's an actual sealed envelope, about the size of it's like an old school mailing envelope.
Well, Rudy, you just gonna stand there, or you gonna open it?
Let's see. I'll open it.
All right.
Anthrax.
Inside.
Campaign's over.
Inside is a handwritten note. You should see it in your handouts. Sorry,
Meet who? Where?
Where?
Meet me at 10 p.m.
There's a
Is there a club called 10 p.m.?
No, on the back is a rough hand-drawn map that looks like it's leading you into, if you look at the Arcturus map, it's leading you into the housing development that's southeast of the main city complex, towards one of the buttes down there. If you go southeast from the main city complex, there's a butte directly southeast, and there's a whole bunch of Arcturian housing there, and that's where it's sending you.
Okay.
This is exciting. Looks like we got a lead on a job.
Yep. You guys have some time.
MacGuffin.
I don't know. This seems kind of dodgy. Should we think about maybe trying to get a contract with Leyland Yutani or something? Look,
Doc, where's your sense of adventure, Doc? Look at Sinclair over here. He's probably already spent the money from this job that we don't even have yet.
We'll discuss all this out in the open. Let's go to the ship, scan the ship for listening devices, and then we can discuss it.
Yes.
Yeah, you guys, it's early. You guys have probably 6 hours before you need to head that way if you're going to go to this meeting. So, all right.
Well, one of the guys with Comtech should use the ship sensors to do a sweep, and I know the ship pretty well, so I'm going to root around and physically look.
All right.
I'm wondering if my Seekson SDD, which gives me a contact +2, would help search for those.
You know what? That's interesting. That's interesting. I might approach that from the standpoint of if you were to use that and talk to Apollo, to see if anyone did any tampering with Apollo to make Apollo listen in on you, I would let you do that. And then
Okay.
whoever's doing a good old-fashioned scan would roll Comtech with a +2 bonus for the ship's sensors. And oh, um,
Are we serious? Do I even still have stress?
oh, you wouldn't have stress. No, you would not have stress.
Let me re-roll that.
Yeah, you can push that. Absolutely.
Well, I'll add the stress for the
Yeah.
re-roll.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so Decker, we'll start with you. You have 2 stunts. Connecting to Apollo. Connecting to Apollo, it does not look that like. It does not look like anyone's tampered with Apollo in a way that would make Apollo listen in or report back or anything along those lines. You have 2 stunts, sir. You're muted.
Can I give those stunts to other people as well, or no? I have to use them myself, probably.
No, I think on Comtech you have to use them yourself.
Okay. I've got.
Can we make suggestions to Max?
Sure.
Is there any way to access Apollo's like I don't know if the ship has cameras inside of it, but to see where they went?
I would imagine I could use new and unexpected information for that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And that would still leave you 1 stun.
+1 to later roll, which will now give me +4 if I ever need it.
Okay.
So I'm banking him.
Yeah, you
Or do they expire after a while?
well, you know, they expire when we forget you have them.
Okay.
The Marine Corps, as well as a deputy marshal, pretty much went through the entire ship step by step. They did not tamper with Apollo in any way. However, for new and unexpected information, they did completely erase any data you guys had on the Alpha Casea system, your scientific tests on the samples. And so if you had any of that in your computer, it's all gone.
Did we turn the
the
samples
thumbnail?
over?
You know, I mean, I would assume you did because you guys turned over pretty much everything else.
Did they find the thumb drive?
I need a new agenda.
Well, didn't you turn that over? Didn't you guys turn over the drive?
No, we hit a drive.
I don't think we did.
No, I think you guys
Didn't we?
decided not to.
I did not to.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, no,
I'm
it's
sorry
okay.
about that.
It's
I thought we
okay.
did.
That's fine. They went over every square inch of the ship, and it doesn't look like they installed anything on you guys. Roman, you scanned the entire vessel, and sensors are not picking up anything that shouldn't be there from the standpoint of listening devices, bugs, anything along those lines. You have 2 stunts as well.
All right, I would like to acquire a new and unexpected piece of information, and I would like to not have to roll for scanning for these kinds of devices again.
That's fine. Let me think on the new and unexpected information part.
Okay.
Dwayne, you were walking around doing a physical check, weren't you?
Correct.
I will let because the way I imagine it, you're walking through, looking at all the machinery of the ship to see if there's anything that isn't supposed to be there. So
Yeah.
I'll actually let you roll a heavy machinery on that, as opposed to
Oh.
observation.
Okay. Well,
Because even the most inobservant mechanic is going to recognize when there's something that's not supposed to be part of a piece of machinery he's used to. Well, you shouldn't have that stress, so you didn't have any successes, but you can push your roll.
oh, all right. Well, you're right. I should have taken that stress off. All right.
Correct.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. It's easy to lose track of that as time passes. Oh yeah. 2 successes. Everything seems like it's exactly as it should be. It doesn't look like anybody tampered with anything. And you do have a bonus stun.
I'll bank it.
Okay. I'm still working on new and unexpected information for you, Roman. That one's causing me some trouble. So I'll I'll see if I can figure that out here in a minute. Well, if you guys, I guess, discuss your next course of action.
All right.
You guys all meet up somewhere on the ship?
Yeah.
Where are you meeting at?
Well, that's a good question. What's the biggest place to meet?
Well, the biggest place to meet is your cargo bay. But obviously galley, command, any of those places would work. Even medical's big enough for
Let's
a
go
bunch
to
of
the
people.
galley.
All right.
We can
Okay.
eat, do whatever we got to do, and get out.
Get everybody over here.
All right. Well, we're looking at a big payment coming up, which will eat up most of our money, right?
Sounds about right.
That is correct. Yep. We'll have about 20,000 left over, I think, or 15. No, about 20,000.
It occurs to me that we might be a little bit light when it comes to the self-defense aspect of our group here. I think we picked up a 40-47, an AK-40-47
Yep.
from the Russians if they didn't take it with them when they searched our ship. And then we have the one that Rudy has, but it just seems like we're a little light if we step on it. You know what I mean? Like we might need to buy an extra one or two just so we have better defense. I mean, what if we get boarded by somebody? Or I don't know. I can imagine a million different scenarios where we need to throw lead. So I think we might want to spend a little bit of our extra cash on some personal defense. I'm not saying we have to, like, you know, get body armor for everybody, although that one day might be a good move.
I kind of feel the same way about our hazardous materials protection. Maybe it's 1 in a million and doesn't happen again, but we just stumbled into the exact scenario where we want to be as protected as possible, and we were a little bit makeshift. Not that
Yeah, I agree with that.
not that these exist to each other's exclusion. I'm saying in addition.
We do have our pressure suits, which kind of covers it, but one thing I wasn't crazy about that, maybe there's nothing that we can do about it, maybe it's just the way it is, but having to do like air checks constantly was a little bit nerve-wracking. I don't know if there's an upgrade we can get for the suits to make them last longer. 'Cause I could definitely see us needing to do more walking around in those suits in the future.
You know, there is an upgraded suit, which all of a sudden I can't seem to find the stats on. But it's the Mark
suit
50.
Armor are on 128.
Yeah, I got it right here. It's the Mark 50 suit, which gives you a 5 air supply instead of 4. So, 25% better. The armor rating drops by 2. Also, it doesn't have the agility penalty, because this is much more like this is much more like the suit you would have seen in Prometheus, as opposed to the big, heavy, bulky suits you saw in Alien. So they're less armored, but they're easier to move around in. They're also 15 grand a piece.
Ow.
All right, that ain't gonna happen.
Hazmat?
Unless how much can we get for these Mark 35s?
Well, they're cheap. You can buy a brand new one for $2K.
Okay, so never mind.
So hazmat suits cost what?
Hazmat suits are cheap. Hazmat suits can be purchased for only $1,200. They're not in the main book. They're in, I think, the CMOM book. But they're cheap. Hazmat suits do not work on unless you're in a lab where they're connected. They don't have their own air supply. Okay,
Right.
but they will protect you from anything getting on you, obviously, with the exception of really powerful acids. Don't know where that might happen, but
Well, I get that, but I was thinking at least the doctors should have access to hazmat suits if. So we don't need to have one for everybody, but we should have a couple.
And I'm not sure if everybody. It's kind of sounded, Marty, like you had said 50 on the other suit. It's 15, which would eat up most of our surplus, but we could afford one of those if we were interested in. I'm not saying that we are. But yeah, I would agree with 2 hazmat suits at minimum for us to do studies.
So it might be a good idea to first find out what our next job will be before we decide what and if we buy.
Well, that's the next question. If we have a payment due, then we're good for a month. but we've got to earn the money to make the payment after that. So we either try and go get out on our own, use our own contacts to try and rummage up some work, or we follow the obvious MacGuffin to its conclusion, and meet with the mysterious lady.
You see how he treats me? I give you guys the perfect opportunity to get
I am very-
reemployed, and
I am very plot positive, so I say we chase down this lead, take the job, whatever it is.
I second that. And can I get a sentry gun?
a sentry gun?
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I think that would fall under the realm of
Yes.
military grade.
Yeah, I'm
Not
sure
saying
it
you
would.
couldn't find something on the black market, but I imagine it'd be pretty expensive.
Yeah, only 12,000 if I buy it from you. But
I feel like engaging the black market on any colony world is extremely dangerous.
yeah,
Like,
I'll do
you're basically looking at towns of like 2,000 people. Everybody knows who's got what.
yeah. I'll just put it on my Christmas list.
Especially if you're not local. I feel like we would almost be better off trying to steal it from the Marines than we would buy it off the locals.
Yeah,
Not that I'm endorsing that.
There is the trading post. Who knows what you might find there?
I agree with the idea about finding out with the job, but in character, speaking in character, I'm very hesitant about a note in an envelope, a place that we've never been before, Captain. I do think we have other options. We could reach out to Siegson, Wayland Yutani. Maybe it tastes bad, but we know what it is.
Yeah, I think those are all good ideas.
I don't.
Well, let's. I mean, we got tonight. Let's go see. We won't go. We won't go defenseless. We'll take protection along, and let's see what this might be. I mean, if it's a shady deal and we don't like it, then yeah, we could go post our resumes online or whatever.
indeed we do.
All right, so that's the play then.
That's the plan. I think I agree.
All right. All right. So is the whole crew headed for the appropriate time?
I definitely
Well-
like that idea.
Do we
Because
feel
who
that there's any security issues with the ship, leaving it alone here?
They've already taken everything they want off it. I mean,
That the UA wants.
that the UA wants, yeah.
I don't want any Arcturans rummaging through. Well, Max, or I should say Jim, out of character, asked the question, and I think we've asked this question a couple times. Do we have the ability to lock it up?
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that would
do
be
that.
that would be someone would make a comtech roll on the ship, and however many successes they get, if someone wants to try to unlock the ship, they would need that many successes to get in.
Yeah. Plus, in reality, a professional can break into anything. Locks only keep honest people honest. So
That's a true statement.
I don't know if that's necessarily true on a spaceship. We get enough successes. It's not like breaking a car window.
yeah. All right. So anyway, that's what I would say is, yeah, we can all go if we can lock the ship. We'll just lock it up.
All right.
Ship is locked, and quickly.
Okay. Oh yeah. All right. Perfect. All right.
I'd like to split that between quickness and impressing Dwayne.
That's right. All right. So you guys head on your way. It's it's a good distance, being that you're traveling on foot. Though I imagine you could probably pay a rickshaw to take you half the distance or something. But anyway, eventually you get out of the city, and you're basically just crossing open ground as you approach the large stone residences that they've carved right out of the butte. They haven't built on the butte or next to the butte. They've literally just carved into it, kind of like those old kind of like the old pictures of the old Anasazi settlements and stuff like that you've seen from the American Southwest. Um,
Really cool.
yeah, there's Arcturans about. No one's paying you a lot of mind because obviously the Arcturans are more than used to seeing humans, for the last 100 years or so. And you're making your way through these carven city streets, following your map. I would allow observation rolls if you like, or I should say, just make one.
Are we de-stressed by now?
Oh yeah. Holy crap on a cracker, Jake. All right.
Dr.
Jake's just a wee bit paranoid and he looks everywhere.
He's
Yeah,
observant for both of us. He's the whole science team on this little search.
yeah, he really is. So, Rudy, you get a sense of it. As you guys are walking your way through, there's a guy some distance behind you that you've spotted him twice, but Jake, there's no question, like you said, in your paranoia, as you're watching, this guy, you're fairly certain you saw him up in Kavas 4 outside your spaceship, talking to some Arcturans. Then you saw him down here again in one of the streets through these residential area, and it seems like every time you turn, he's back there just around a corner or 30 yards away, and every time you turn and look at him, he seems to turn and look at something else, as if he just happens to be there looking at maybe some bracelets that an Arcturan street vendor is selling, or getting a water from one of them or something along those lines. But you're fairly certain he's following you. White male, medium height, fit.
Well, since we have 6 of us, right? 6 of us are
Yeah.
on this trip. Let's pair off into twos and take 3 different directions. You'll have to follow one of us.
All right.
Well, what? Okay.
And then meet back.
Well, should 2 of us? We don't need all 6 of us at the meeting. Should 2 of us basically run interference, peel off, and keep him between the other 4 and him? I'm willing to do that.
Oh, sure. That might even work better. Just have 2 languish back behind, and then the other 4 move faster forward. And I don't think he's going to try to pass the ones that are, because that would reveal himself, right?
Could be our guy.
All right, Max. How about you and I? We let these 4 guys continue, and maybe we can melt into a doorway or something, and see if we can confront him. We've got I've got pretty good strength, and I got weapons. So,
well, let's try stalling him first.
Okay.
So we can peel off and just have a conversation while the other 4 continue moving forward and see what he does.
Okay. All right. All right. So that'll be the 2 of you, and everyone else is continuing. Let's just do that. Huh. All right. So as that occurs, he kind of looks. Do you mean to roll agility?
no,
Okay. He kind of looks and sees the 2 of you stop, like you said. You just kind of stop and kind of have a conversation while the other guys are heading off. He looks at you guys, and then he peels off a side street to the left. Seems to be in a bit of a hurry all of a sudden.
can we see a parallel street? Because I'm assuming we're playing without a map. So can
Yeah,
we
we're
see
playing without a
parallel
map.
street?
2 of you make an observation roll.
All right. Because I'd like. Let's see if we can find a parallel street we can hustle down.
Oh yeah, yeah. Max, he's heading down. He's heading down this side street towards a street that's a little bit lower and is definitely parallel to the one you guys are on.
Yeah, Max. Let's if we can find a well, let's go after him. He's obviously going to try and keep following our guys, so we need to get between him and them.
Works for me.
Okay.
All right.
So
we're
I'm
gonna
gonna have you two make mobility rolls. Now you're not chasing him. You're trying to rush ahead on the street you are to cut him off. Is that the idea?
Yeah, the idea is we know he's trying to bypass us, so we're trying to get back in front of him.
Yep. Holy shit. Okay, fair enough. All right, so you guys rush ahead. You're making your way through. You know, there's probably an Arcturan a guy pushing a cart that's full of mushrooms, and there's street vendors and stuff like that. You guys are pushing past all of them, and you get up to the next intersection just as he is coming up another side alley, heading right for you guys. Meanwhile, the other four, Jake, Rudy, Mitchell, and Vickers, are getting well ahead at this point.
So I'd like to have a friendly wave at this guy and start approaching him and like, hey, I'm new around here. Could I ask you a question? Sort of attitude.
All right. Make a manipulation roll.
I knew that was coming.
That's not going to be very good. As handsome as I am, it's not going to work. Yeah.
Oh, would you like to push the roll?
Yeah, I'll push it. Push.
Shoot. Looking at the time. All right.
Oh, well.
He stops and sees you approaching, doing that, and you can't hear him, but you can see him. He pretty much goes shit, and he turns around and he just books it going the other way.
Damn, I really wanted to find out about their Turin brothels around here.
Okay, so why don't you book after him? He's going the other way, so I'm assuming that's kind of back the way
he
was
came.
coming.
Yeah.
All right, so you follow him, and I'm gonna go back the way we came, which will eventually get me back to where he came from, because we had gone around. So let me.
Good.
All right.
Let me.
Two of you make mobility rolls for me.
Yep, and I had I had a bank success from before, so I will use that.
Very good. That works.
Ah!
Oh, roll your panic. Man, that's a lot of dice to not.
Especially that many different rolls.
Yeah, that's amazing. All right, so Max, you get held up by just a sudden group of Arcturans that probably come out of one of the local, one of the houses right there, and you run into them and you just can't get by him as he disappears. Dwayne, you are heading back the way you came. You're coming up on the intersection just as he reaches it, and he pretty much jumps into a full run and starts running down the street away from you guys.
All right. If he's going away from our group, right?
Yeah.
All right. I'll just let him go, and I'll go search out Max.
All right. Yeah, you find him as he starts to come up from that side alley where he got held up.
Max, what happened to you?
Had a whole bunch of Arcturans just come by me, and I couldn't get past them.
Oh, man, I was waiting for you. I was standing here with nothing but my dick.
Well, there must have been two hands because it's that big, right?
All right, so what do you want to do, Max? We saw the map and we generally know where they're going, or do we want to just go back to the ship and wait for them to report in? What do you want?
No, I think we should make our way to where the meeting's going to be and stay outside and see if there's anybody else that's trying to survey the meeting.
Good idea. So
right.
that's what we'll do.
So you guys head off. The four of the rest of you make it to where you're headed. It's a.
By the way, we're 104
Oh,
Eastern.
we are 104. All right. So do we want to stop it right here then?
I think we should.
Yeah. All right. So let's do that. We will cut it here, and we'll come back next week for the meeting.
It's a good session today. It's a lot of fun.
Good game.